Hello, and welcome back to the Who Are You podcast. I'm your host, Connor Overbay. If this is your first time checking out the podcast, welcome. This is the Who Are You podcast coming out to you guys from Jacksonville, Florida. If you guys want to see some behind the scenes, get to know more about the podcast, or just want to see more of us, you can give us a follow on all of our social media. It's going to be at Who Are You Pod for everything from Instagram, I'm having a terrible time, YouTube, TikTok, X, I always want to call it Twitter, Facebook. We're on all the social medias, so make sure you guys come give us a follow. Everybody on YouTube that's following us so far, thank you so much. We did just launch our YouTube channel about 5-6 weeks ago, so very happy to have everybody that's giving us a follow and checking us out on there. As well as if you guys know anybody who has a story that needs to be told, whether they're a business owner, an entrepreneur, a restaurateur, athlete, anybody really, feel free to shoot me an email. It's going to be whoareyoupod@yahoo.com, or you can hit me up on social media, and maybe we'll have you guys on a future episode. But today, we are sitting down with a very, very special guest. I'm sitting down with Miss Josie Valentine today, and I don't even know how to describe you. You're a woman of very many talents, so it's been awesome to kind of go back and forth with you on social media. Before we get into the conversation with you, please let everybody know where they can follow you, find any of your stuff, all that.
Okay, so I am on Instagram at Joe Valentino 3.0, and I just launched my business, and that handle is at Creative Director Joe, just J-O. I think I have a TikTok. Don't know what that is. I don't have a YouTube. Facebook is Josie Valentine. I'm pretty much just on Instagram. Instagram's like where it's at for me.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Unfortunately, I have to be on all these social media things just to get the stuff out there. You know, Instagram we do decent on. Facebook we used to do good on. TikTok, I don't know how the fuck people do anything on there, to be 100% honest with you. But it's a part of the brand, unfortunately.
I wish I would have, actually taken the time during the pandemic to figure out I had the time, and my friends at the time were like, you do really well, and I was like
I fought it for so long. I thought TikTok was just whatever, and even the podcast, I wish I would have started it during COVID time. That would have been the perfect time, but I'm like, you know what, let's do it 2 years after COVID, after the whole boom happened. And I'm like, god damn it.
I would have been so successful by now.
I know, who you telling? But like I said, welcome to the show. I'm very happy to have you here today. So to really get to know you, you do a mix of things. You're big in the fashion world. Obviously, I've seen all of that. Are you one half of the Jack's fashion experience, or are you the owner? How's that whole situation?
Oh, yeah, no. So I was just, I got to model for them. And that was that was a great thing.
Gotcha.
And then I partnered with them for the model camp. So we partnered together to help make that happen. And yeah, I try to stay involved in the community here in Jacksonville since I've moved a couple hours away. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'm up here every other week, or
always find your way back.
Yeah, I'm constantly driving back up here. I just love it here so much.
Hell yeah. Well, we're going to get to know a little bit of your backstory for the first half, and then we'll get to more about what you do outside of your, obviously, just regular life and everything.
Okay.
So the first thing I always ask everybody, where are you originally from?
So I was born and raised in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. I was born in a small town called Glasgow, which is near Bowling Green.
Okay.
And then my family moved, and then I was raised in a town called Cynthiana. Which, fun fact, I went to high school with the artist of the Kentucky Derby, the signature they had on the Woodford Reserve bottles, the art.
The bourbon and everything, right?
And then the art that they used to promote this year's Derby is a local artist named Wiley Cottle, and I went to high school with him.
What?
So shout out to him, because we both come from the same town, and I think we're superstars from our town.
That's really cool.
But I grew up there, and then that was pretty good, and then I got accepted into my dream school, which was Western Kentucky University, and that is in Bowling Green, Kentucky. So It was closer back to where I was born, and I wanted to be back in a good place with my family and ties like that. And then I did college for a year, and I was like, this is a fucking scam. I was like, I don't even know.
What were you studying?
International business.
Oh, okay.
And I had prepped for that all through high school. So in Kentucky, you had to take all these tests when you were in 8th grade, because by the time you were a freshman in high school, they wanted you on your college or career path.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm going to do business, and I did all the business classes, all the community college credits, and did all that. And then that was my dream school. It was my dream program. And then I got there, and then I partied. Well, my parents were like, you have to pay for your first semester of college, because if you party and fuck up, it's going to be your money down the drain, not ours.
That's actually kind of smart, to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie.
Right? And I have 3 older sisters. So, and I was like, whatever. Worked really hard all summer, job, saved my money. And then I think I, pretty much fucked up my first semester. semester with my grades and like drinking and just like.
I was the same, fam. I moved out when I turned 18 years old, and my freshman year of college, I wasn't doing shit, to be honest. Like, I would get in there, and like, I went to class. I was never a skipper or anything like that. But, you know, there would be, you know, you're partying some nights, and you're like, oh, that paper can wait. And then it's the night before, and you're sitting there typing out like a 1,500 word, if not like, 10,000 word essay.
Yep.
And you're just like, shit, and just keep going. So I totally understand. I didn't even go out of state for my college. I went to FSCJ here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and that like, and I always did things the night before, and then like when I got through that first semester, I was like, shit, I fucked up. And my parents were like, I told you. Mm-hmm. They're like, okay, we'll help you with your second semester. And then that was good, but I forgot what happened. But like the program that I was in, they were like, hey, you need to take these 3 classes, and you know, you'll be into the international business program. And
gotcha.
Like, cool. So that, you know, I did that first semester, whatever. Well, then by the time the second semester came, they had changed all the rules. And they said, okay, now you need these 5 classes.
Like 5 extra, like other than the 3 that you took already?
No, it was 3 and then plus the 2.
Plus
so
2,
it was
okay.
5 total. But the thing is it was really weird, like gen eds. It was like advanced English. It was just like really weird things that I'm like, I already did that.
Yeah.
For 12 years. Like, why are you making me do this again? Mm-hmm. Like, more than usual just to get into for this program. And then, you know, I came home from the summer, and I think it was on my 5th day of being home. My mom was like, "You got to get a job. You got to get a job." Blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And my parents didn't know I didn't want to go back, and so I think I was probably like 5 days away from having to go back to college, and I had to tell my parents that like, I don't think I'm going back, dude.
That's a no for me, dog.
I was like, and I didn't know. I was so anxious all summer. Mm-hmm. Like, how am I going to tell my parents this? Because I didn't want to like disappoint them, and what were they going to think of me? Because like growing up, they were like, you either have to go to college or military, and like even though it was like a joke and way, it felt like that. And I was like really fucking grateful, because I was like crying to my parents. I was like, I can't go back to college. I can't do it. I don't even know what I want to do. Why would you even want to pay for me if I don't even know what I want to do? And my dad was like, all right, if you don't want to go back, that's cool. And I was like,
that's perfect, to be honest with you. Like, my family still gives me shit to this day. Like, I got my associate's degree, and I do plan on going back and get my bachelor's, but, you know, I'm testing other things out. Like, I work a full-time job. I'm not just at home doing nothing. You know, I work my full 40-hour weeks, 50-hour weeks, all that, and then come home and do this on the side. And I love my mom and my stepfather, but they're every time I go to their house, they're like, so when are you going to start school again? I'm like, guys, I'm going to freak out at you because I'm going
to lose my shit.
Well, you know, I was originally going to school to be a nurse. I wanted to be I wanted to be a registered nurse for a while. You know, I've always been interested with working with people, especially in the medical care system. I find the human body interesting and everything. And I was taking classes, and I just wasn't able to pass. To be 100% honest with you, I would sit there and like in anatomy, and like I would pass the classes and everything, and then I got to the actual standardized test to get into nursing school. Took it 3 times, didn't pass it. I was just like, I guess this just isn't for me, and that's kind of, you know, stopped me from going to school there. And then after a while, I'm just like, I don't know what I want to go to school for. And I am lucky enough where my parents did the Florida prepaid. So school's paid, you know, up to your bachelor's degree, which I am internally grateful for. It's just, I don't want to go back to school if I don't 100% know what I'm going to go for. Yeah. You know, because that's money, it's free money that I got, and I don't want to waste it. Yeah. And at the end of the day, if I don't go back to school, they just put a new law in where I can put that into my Roth IRA and just let that grow. And I thought about that. I'm like, that would still be a good start for retirement for me as well.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of what I thought, and we keep going back and forth. I'm going to go to school, maybe not, blah, blah, blah. I do want to go to school just to make some more money. You know, obviously I want to turn this into the main business and, you know, make all the money I can from this. But that's also not the main goal. Like, my main goal is putting out good content, letting people learn about new people here in Jacksonville or even outside of Jacksonville, such as yourself, and promote them and see where that goes. Because we've been very lucky with me and Shannon. Like, we get hit up, like, this whole month we're booked. You know, like, and we're very lucky, and I'm very grateful for this. It's like,
that's so exciting.
Yeah, so this is really starting to turn into a thing in year 2. You know, we've grown, built a podcast studio, and when we were talking about Jen and Ty sat in the chair that you're sitting in, but Jen was sitting at a freaking coffee table that we had, or a dining room table, and we were just doing this, no camera, just my phone and everything. So we're just trying this out and seeing where we can take this with it.
No, I love that.
Yeah,
I'm so excited to be here. I'm so grateful to be.
Oh, we're grateful to have you. Like I said, it always makes me feel nice when someone reaches out and they're interested. It means I'm not just talking into a black hole.
No,
you know
no,
what I mean?
not at all.
Yeah. But also where I became cognizant of you and everything. Obviously, I saw the Jack's Fashion Expo. I saw you were involved in a lot of it. That's why I thought you were part owner of it. And I saw you on Jim. Shout out to Graybeard Podcast. Saw you were on there with, who was the gentleman you were sitting with?
Cameron,
thank you. I was like, I've seen him. He's commented on stuff. Shout out to Cameron. Thank you for supporting the podcast. But I saw you guys on there and we're having a good conversation and everything. What do you think about being interviewed and everything? Is it weird for you to sit in front of a camera and talk and everything?
No, not really. It's it feels very normal to me. But in high school, I did like the broadcasting thing. So we had like a morning news channel. Okay. So like I was used to doing that. And then even today, like when Jim and I were downtown filming the promo, he was like, "Do you have a script?" And I was like, "No, I'm okay. I'll just make it up on the spot." And he's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm pretty good at it."
Yeah.
And then it took me a couple of takes to get all the way through. But I was like, overall, I just like make it up. But being interviewed, I don't know. It's like, it feels very normal to me. I don't know. As a child, I always thought about when I'm a model or when I'm a celebrity and what would I say in an interview?
Yeah.
And things like that. So I feel really comfortable.
That's cool. Shannon was, when she was younger, she didn't even know she liked being in front of a camera until back then. She got interviewed for the news at a Hannah Montana concert. Hannah Montana, Jonas Brothers, all that stuff. She was on the news. Didn't you have like a whole wig on and everything, right?
You did?
Yeah, it was her sister, your sister and your mom, right? One of your friends. Yeah, she got interviewed on the news and everything, and she was actually my first interview on this podcast. So
that's so cute.
Yeah, it was cool. Like we walked everybody through us. Like we just got married about 7 months, 8 months, something like that.
Guys.
Yeah, and like we started the podcast before I even proposed to her. So we got to walk through the whole process of us like getting married and going through all the, getting all the stuff ready. Shannon planned 99% of it. I am real about that. But like got to walk through the whole process of that and everything. And like people have seen us grow into a married couple, which is kind of crazy to think about.
That is crazy to think about. And if you think about like your 1 year and then like your 5 and 10, like, and how you'll be able to look back, that's so fucking adorable.
We've been together for 7 years. Yes. So,
wow.
Yeah, she met me when I was a freshman in high school, and she was a sophomore, or not freshman in high school, freshman in college, and she was a sophomore in college.
That's so sweet. Oh, so you were the older lady.
She's not old enough to be a cougar, but I call her my Puma. As she shakes her head.
Puma, okay. I'll take it.
It's not a bad thing,
no.
Cradle robber, whatever you want to call it,
My parents are literally like 6 months apart, and my dad is like, your mom's such a cradle robber. And I'm like, David,
how dare you?
I do this to my parents. I'm like, David, Jenny.
I love when I can call and now that I'm old enough to call my parents by their actual, like, their government name, they look at me. If I ever say, like, my mom's name is Lori, if I ever called her Lori, she'd be like, who are you talking to like that?
I always say, girl, to my mom, and she's gotten used to it, but she hates when I'm like, dude, bro. She's like, I'm not your bro.
I say bro and dude to everybody. Like when I text, I always say, hey man, hey dude, what you up to? Or unless it's a girl like you, I don't say, hey dude, what you up to, kind of thing. But no, it's funny. Are you pretty close with your family? Obviously, it sounds like you are.
Yeah. So I'm super close with my parents. I do have 3 older sisters. We were closer when I was younger, but the thing is like my parents had them and they were done having kids, and my dad was supposed to go get fixed.
So you were surprised, is what I'm hearing.
And he told my mom that he did, and he didn't. So my mom couldn't figure out like why she was so sick, and she was like, I was like laying in bed, and it was like an angel had shone down, and like, oh, and she looked over at my dad, and she was like, and of course she was, and then I came along. So like my 3rd oldest sister is 9.5 years, and then it's 11.5 or 12.5, and then it's 15.5.
Oh damn, so there is like a big gap.
Big gap. So by the time I was like 7 or 8, my 3rd sister had like graduated high school and went to college. So from like age 7 to 18, I was by myself, which kind of sucked.
See, it's funny that you say that. Like we have a similar dynamic in my family. My little brother, my parents divorced when I was young, remarried and everything, and I have a brother who's 10 years younger than me. Yeah. So a similar thing to like basically when he was 8, 9, or 10, I was out of the house. Yeah. Like, and I've been living like with me and Shannon have just been living together the whole time. So he has the same thing where he's basically grew up as an only child.
Yeah.
And he's in high school now, and I see his teenage angst. I'm like, you could not pay me to go back to that time. I'm just like, ugh.
No, that was like the worst fucking time. I don't know who I was, and I in my mind's eye, I give that girl a hug because she needed it. But again, you could not pay me to go back. Like you couldn't pay me me right now to go back to my hometown.
I can understand, I've been to Kentucky a couple of times. I've gone to Louisville, like I was telling you about. Where was Michael's wedding, Shannon? What's right across from Cincinnati?
I have no
Oh
idea.
my God, what is the name? Can you look it up for me, Shannon? Anyways, like went there for a wedding and everything, but every time I've gone, it's a pretty place, Have you always lived, whether it's always Kentucky and Florida, have you lived in any other states?
No, I haven't. I moved here in January. I moved here January 11th, 2017.
Okay.
And then up until last July, I have always been in Jacksonville.
Gotcha. So how old were you when you moved to Jacksonville? Covington, Kentucky. Thank you.
That's so wild. That's so random that we both know where that's at. 2017. I don't know. I think I just turned 20.
Okay. So you were, like you said, you went to college, so you came here after college, right?
Yeah. So when I decided not to go back, I didn't want to stay in my hometown because I didn't feel like I was going to go anywhere.
Gotcha.
A lot of people just kind of graduate and stay, which is a great choice. Those are the choices that they've made, but that wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I wanted something new, and my parents were super encouraging.
That's cool.
To get out. Like, they were like, do not stay here.
Yeah.
Please go find yourself and do things. And one of my sisters happens to live here in Jacksonville.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, hey, could I move in with you? Blah, 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 and this and that. And she said yes. I have never worked this hard since, but for, I think, 5 or 6 months, I worked 3 jobs at 65 to 70 hours a week.
Mm-hmm. I feel you, fam.
Busted ass.
What were the jobs?
I was a cook for a daycare.
Okay.
I started just like working like as a floater. You would go from room to room, taking care of kids and things, and then like the cook quit. And the job I had before I worked there was, I worked at a home healthcare facility and like this huge health campus, and I had worked in the kitchen. That was like one of my very first jobs. So I was the only person that had like experience. So I would get to the daycare at like 5 in the morning, and then I would get off at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. And then I was a home health aide.
Oh, wow. So you were just busting ass the whole time.
Yeah. So then I would go work from 5 p.m. to 9 a.m.
Wow.
And go take care of somebody. I would come home and sleep, and then usually that schedule was like closer to the weekend. So then like Saturday, I would go to work at 6 p.m. and I would get off work at 7 or 6 a.m. on Sunday, and then I would sleep and I would do it all over again.
I feel you, fam. I would say the 2 jobs, 3 jobs from what you're saying is hard. Shannon, for a while there, I worked at a restaurant. It was called Chicken Salad Chicken. I worked at the vape store I was telling you about, All Day Vape, and I worked 7 days a week. I would get off one shift, just like you were saying, go to the next shift, and then I would come home. Shannon would find me in bed in my work uniform, just knocked out in the bed, just every single day. I did that for like a year and a half, and then got to the point where I was just depressed. I was like, I'm killing myself on a daily basis, but bills got to get paid,
Yeah, and I knew I needed to save the money to move down, because I remember at one point I was like on the couch or something. I was about to like fall asleep. It was like 8 o'clock on like a Wednesday or whatever. It was like a day off I had, and my mom was like, do you want to go to like the movies with your friends? Do you want to like go out? And I was like, I don't want to fucking go out. I was like, I'm tired. I got work.
I understand. After doing that for so long, it's, people talk about putting in 40-hour weeks and being tired, which I 100% understand, because there's days like, I work an 8-hour day and I'm just dead to the world. But I look back on those times and I do respect it though, because it makes me proud that, I may have been killing myself on a daily basis there, but like I had to, get shit done. And there is no, like, I love my family and they would help me out if I'm in dire needs or anything.
Yeah.
But I'm also very proud, and I don't ask for money or anything like that. I'm like, no, keep that to yourself. I don't want this. I want to do it myself, kind of thing. Or, I'm also very lucky where I have someone else who in my life who works, like Shannon works a full-time job.
Yeah.
Even though the goal is to retire her one day and just me and her can just work together doing our thing. But no, that's a different thing. You just brought up memories of just me just going to bed every night, and it would just black out all day and then get it done and go back home.
Which I wish I could find that energy again, because like now that I've like launched my business, I'm trying to find that hustle and grind mode, because even though I was freelance, I was still like doing things, and then I had a really good job until I was laid off. And I've been applying to jobs like left and right. I've been applying to Jacksonville, I've been applying to Tampa, all these different places, like marketing and media and like normal jobs, and I just can't. Nobody ever like comes back. Nobody ever answers you. So trying to find the energy to hustle and do this, I'm like looking back. I'm like, all right, how did I do it? I know it was 2 energy drinks, but it's something else. I had like that. You had that like raw.
Yeah.
desire. You know what I mean?
It's a hunger. It's literally like that drive. You just want to get things. You know, when you're young, you really don't know how the world is working either. Yeah. And then you get a little older, and I feel like it calluses you a little bit, and you're just like, I don't know if like this is worth it, kind of thing. But it's never going to work if you don't keep trying. That's the way I look at it.
And I gotta admit that I've gotten much softer moving back in with my parents because even though I don't like technically have like a 9 to 5, my mom's like, "You want to go shopping today? Do you want to go to Target? Do you want to go to like Ulta and Five Below?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I do. Let's go."
Target and women, man. No, everyone loves Target.
And then we got into thrifting, and so now we go to Tampa, and now we have like our favorite thrifting spots. So it's like I get really soft, and I sleep in, and I'm like doing all these things, and I'm like, maybe I need to make it a little harder for myself.
I understand, but there's nothing wrong with support. As long as you're trying to do something, I feel like that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
There's been times where me and Shannon had to, like as I was telling you before we started the podcast, I had to move back in with my family after I was like 19 or something like that, years old. Broke a lease with a buddy of mine, or not a buddy anymore, but a roommate at the time.
Been there.
Yeah, and had to break that. That was expensive. It was like $1,500 or whatever it was. Yeah. And 18, 19 years old, that's your bank account pretty much getting taken away from you. I was working restaurant jobs. I wasn't making thousands of dollars every paycheck or anything. Yep. So moved back in with the fam until we got back on our feet, and then we both moved out. We had roommates for another 3-4 years after that. And then about 3 or 4 years ago, we were able just to get our own apartment. And then thank God that I don't have a roommate anymore. This has been so nice. Just me and Shannon. It's quiet. There's no parties, nothing, no bullshit going on.
Yeah, I had I moved out of my sister. I was with her for 6 months, and she's like, "Okay, you've been here for 6 months. You either have to start paying rent to us or move out and find your own place." And I was like, "I'm going to move out and find my own place."
There you go.
And then I moved into an apartment, and I had a friend move down from Kentucky, obviously no longer friends. Went through the same situation. And then I had another roommate and different roommates, and then I couch surfed, and then I had my very own apartment. And I was so proud of myself, and it was at Jack's Beach, and it was expensive,
Ooh.
but it was expensive, but it was mine. Mm-hmm. And it had a little private fenced-in yard.
That's
it was
cool.
So beautiful. My cat, we loved it. And then they sold the building.
What? No.
Told me I had 15 days to get out.
15 days.
Yeah, legally, and they were legal. They had 15 days to get me out.
Damn.
I think it took me about 20 days to figure out, because I was like, "You gotta fucking work with me."
Yeah.
I was like, "You cannot expect me."
15 days isn't I know that sounds like a lot, but it's really not. To go move, get all your stuff packed, figure out where you're gonna go live, getting a lease signed, all this other stuff. It takes time.
While still having my job, and at the time I was a social media manager for a local boutique. So I'm still trying to, I'm going into work. I'm trying to step out and take breaks and find all these things, and I was like, "Okay, you're renovating it. Can you let me sign a new lease?" They're like, "No, we want all the old people out."
Dang, man, that sucks.
And then the other thing that pissed me off too is I was like, give me a chance. I'll still pay the same rent, no matter what. This is a safe neighborhood. I live by myself. I'm a woman. Blah blah blah. And they were like, "You probably won't be able to afford our new prices."
Well,
and
damn.
I was like,
"Well, damn,
screw you!"
Yeah.
I'm leaving my old couch on the curb. I was like, "Fuck you too."
Oh no, I understand. There's slumlords out there. With what I do for a job, I do pest control. So you can imagine what I go and see and everything. Oh, yeah. And I'll go in these places that are $2,000 a month, and they're shitholes. I'm walking around, there's holes in the wall, leaking, plumbing leaking from the ceiling or the floor, infested with insects and all this other stuff. And they're like, "Yeah, we still need you to pay that $1,600, $1,700 a month." I'm like, I tell those tenants, I'm like, "I'd move the fuck out of here if I was you."
I keep hearing people literally, and my dad's one of those people. He's like, "Well, the market's about to pop." And
I've heard that for years now.
I was like, "You've been saying that since I moved in, and nothing has changed. I'm still here."
Yeah.
I was like, "I still live with you."
Yeah, and this isn't a political comment, by the way, but there's going to be a whole election and all that stuff. We'll see what goes on. I'm not a political person, so there's I really don't have a side on it. But that's always a thing as well that helps. Sometimes it helps the market change a little bit for you and see what can happen. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. I don't care who's fucking president, just make it better. Make it better. That's all I care about.
At this point, Florida's passing New York on rent.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me? You're telling me that I could pay cheaper money in rent and have public transportation.
The only thing about New York, though, it is not safe right now.
It is not safe, and the weather's shit.
Yeah, like I know, like, Jacksonville is not the safest place. Like, really, downtown's really dangerous, but everything over here is not, like, on the side of town is pretty safe. But, like, New York, I've been seeing stuff on, like, Twitter, and obviously the internet is a horrible place to see a description of a place. But I've been seeing, like, stuff going on there, of riots and all this other crap. I'm like, I don't know. It's a pretty place. I've been a couple times. I've enjoyed every time, but that was also 12 years ago.
I would say the last time I went was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I went for a music festival.
Was it fun?
Oh my god, it was like the time of my life.
Okay, that's good. Like I said, it's not all bad.
I was like sober the entire time, and I was on such a natural high. But it's every time you go to New York, you're like, I could live here. I could take the subway. Like, I could be a fashion girl.
It's cool though. Like, it's a really cool spot because, like, what you're saying, like, the whole fashion scene there is huge.
Oh my god, it would kill
Comedy is there. You know, movies, all this other stuff. It's just the only thing you get me on is, like, how, like, if you're paying $2,000 a month, it would probably be the size of the studio set that we're sitting on right now.
And they don't have, like, washers and dryer. And I've seen so many people have to, like you know, they literally have separate containers that they have to, like, lug their laundry in New York, like, when they have to, like, go down to...
Or even bathrooms. Like, there's some places where, like, there's, like, communal bathrooms where you have to go out into the hallway and everything. I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah, Florida's, like, not that bad now that I think about it. Honestly, it is hot, but... I can get in the pool in the month of May, and I'm sure New Yorkers are like, oh, fuck, it's May.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But like I said, give and take anywhere you go, really. You know, you can go anywhere. But, like, my favorite places that me and Shannon have traveled to has been, like, Colorado, Lake Tahoe, all that stuff, in the mountains. That's more my vibe. I could take the beach, whatever. You know, I mean, I'm not a big sand guy. But, like, it's beautiful to live here. But I've also lived here my whole life. Kind of like how you were feeling with living in Kentucky. It's just, you've been there. You've seen it 1,000 times. You see the same people and everything. And I'm lucky enough to have great friends here. But I also don't plan on living here my whole life. Me and Shannon want to go get a piece of land, get some animals, hang out, not like farm, like slaughter or anything like that. We're big into, like, having, you know, like a sanctuary. Like, we would have cows and goats and shit, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, we actually, I've told the story a couple of times on the pod. We actually used to have a mini pig too. Her name was Lulu.
What happened?
So whenever we broke, nothing happened.
Okay. So I was like, hold up now, don't make me cry.
So whenever we broke the lease, we had to end up giving her away. So that was little Lulu right there. Super sweet. She was smart as a dog. So you tell her to sit, she'd sit for you. If you're sitting on the couch, she'd hop up on your lap, watch TV with you. She'd sleep in bed with us. Litter box trained as well. Yeah, she was super smart.
My dad is not going to be happy to hear this.
Why?
I'm going to want to get a pig.
Well, funny enough, me and Shannon literally went to Lakeland, Florida. The people brought us in, like, this big-ass ranch. They had these, like, the electronic gates, right, Shannon, if I remember correctly? Or didn't someone have to, like, bring us in? Either way, these big gates, and it's like a big piece of property. They drive us up there, and they're like, which pig do you want? They show us all the pigs. I'm like, the smallest one. They're like, that one. I was like, all right. And they're like, pick it up. You pick that thing up, and it squealed. That was the first time I've ever heard a pig, like, actually scream. Like, it was like, rah! Like, it was so loud. They actually had us give her the freaking, like, immunizations there, too. They were like, here, we're going to hold the pig. You put this in their neck. I'm like,
why don't I hold the pig?
Yeah,
you put it in.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, what the hell kind of backwoods shit is this?
I've not done this. You've done.
I'm not a vet. Yeah, like, I'm a freaking person trying to buy a pig right now. Like, what are we doing here? But she was super sweet. We gave her to a no-kill farm, so she's doing her thing, you know, living life and all this stuff. Everybody, if it was going to be a boy, we were going to name it Baconator, to be 100% honest with you. It was funny. I thought it would be good.
That wasn't your choice, right?
Hey. Shannon rode with me, though. I told her, like, we were, like, really fresh into our relationship. I think we just started dating, and she just moved in with me or something. We started, she moved in with me 1 month into us dating, and just been like this ever since.
That's the dream, right?
Yeah. We've been through a lot of shit. There's been so much bullshit. But she rode down with me. I told her, I was like, hey, I'm going to get a pig. If you want to come hang out and get the pig with me, you can. She rode in the passenger seat with the pig the whole time and everything. It was super cool.
Honestly, though, if a guy texted me that, I would be like, fuck yeah, I'm waiting out front. Let's go.
I'm a big animal guy. Like, I want to get cows. I want to have all this other stuff and just have a little spot. I want to be able to walk out in the morning on my way to work, pet my cow, and go off.
My mom growing up, one of her best friends had a pet skunk.
Really?
That had, like, they, like, plugged his butt.
So they couldn't, like, spray and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she said it was, like, the cutest thing. It was so sweet.
I bet it was. Like, I think there's so many cool animals out there. Like,
and they say don't domesticate them, and they're wrong.
Well, like, what about a raccoon? Don't raccoons look so freaking cute? I would 100% have a raccoon in my house.
100% get a raccoon.
They do this thing where they roll. Have you ever seen that? Like, they just like roll from like head to tail, just keep on going. I think that's the cutest shit I've ever seen.
I like when they grab food and they try and they eat it.
Yes.
I fucking love raccoons.
I have a picture like a year or two ago from my job. I had to go take care of a private zoo. They were having issues with like fleas and stuff, and like we didn't spray anywhere near the animals, just like in areas where they had problems. And they were like, "Do you want to hold a lemur?" I was like, I'm sorry? They're like, do you want to hold a lemur? I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. What do you mean? And I got to hold a lemur. It was an orange one, not like the normal black and white ones. But the thing that was so weird is like, just like a cat, you know, they're so furry. So you think they're going to be like, you're
soft, or like
when you grab onto them, you think their body's going to be right under their fur. My hands kept going and it was like this skinny. I didn't realize how little it was. And it was about this tall and it hugged me. It was the weirdest like sensation of like an animal like hugging you. It has hands and all this stuff. It was super sweet. Wow. Yeah, I love animals. That's like one of my favorite things.
One of my dreams is to go to the Australian Zoo.
Australian Zoo? Do they have a big zoo?
Yeah, and I want to hug a koala bear.
I've heard those things are cool, but I heard they're assholes at the same time. Like if you don't keep feeding them, like the eucalyptus and all that.
I'd be an asshole too.
Yeah, right. I understand.
If people want to hold you and take pictures with you all the time.
I want to hang with a kangaroo. That's who I would. Yeah. I heard they're assholes though too. They want box. You know what I mean? I feel like they'd be super cool. But to get back more into your story, you said sorry, I know we went on a side tangent there, but you said you grew up with 3 sisters. That's nuts. And your dad is a strong man to deal with that.
I'm telling you, by the time like I came around, he is a seasoned veteran.
He knew. He was like, I know what's up. We're going to get this going.
One of my favorite memories of my dad, I had just had my first heartbreak. So like my first boyfriend, I was like 15, just broke my heart.
Oh, that's a hurt.
And I was like, I was a mess. And at the job that he had at the time, he traveled a lot. Like he was driving, always on the road, always.
Was he like a trucker or something?
No, he worked for a construction company, and he was their safety director. And then he transferred to, and then he got laid off, and then he went to a different job where he had a bigger position.
Oh, nice.
I forgot what the company did.
No, you're good. It's all good.
But yeah, so he had been on the road for like a week or two. And he stopped at Walmart and got me the deluxe CD version of Red by Taylor Swift because it had just come out.
That's cute.
And then he got me a pint of Breyer's Oreo ice cream.
That's a good dad. I like that.
That's solid. And he came home and I was like, and he was like, slid the CD over, slid the ice cream with the spoon.
Put it under the door.
Yeah, and he did. He just walked out. And then I was like, this is like the best. But yeah, so he was pretty good about like heartbreak, and teenage things, and
that's hard, fam. Like that's why I wouldn't go back to high school. Like I had a long relationship there. Thought we were like whatever, and then like literally right after senior year we broke up. I was like, and to be honest, to this day I'm so happy that happened. I was like, I would have been in hell for the rest of my life.
I know, and I think about the boys that like I dated, and at the time I was like, but this is the love of my life, and I see them now, and I'm like, oh my god,
100%. It's just you're young. It's like a first time thing.
Yeah.
So when you first have that heartbreak, you're just like, damn, man, that really hurt. Like it's like an actual like visceral feeling, and then you look back on it and you're like, you see who the people are now, and you're like, I'm okay with it.
But we're the type of people that like will keep getting better, and like those people definitely peaked.
There's some people who have, say not gonna hate, it is what it is. But also like I also found love when I wasn't looking for it. Me and her worked together. I was like, she hates when I say this. I was her boss at a job.
Oh.
And, yeah, that's right. But like we were also like we were just good friends. We hung out all the time. And then sooner or later it became a relationship, and she would like with her, I never officially asked her to be like my girlfriend, even though she was living with me. And she would just call me her boo thing, and that shit would piss me off. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not your boo thing. I'm the like your boyfriend. Like, what are we doing here? But it got to a point I asked her and all that stuff. She said, I love you first as well.
Oh.
She said it like...
You heard it here first.
I was giving her a hug, and like she was walking out to go to class, and she's like, I love you. And she's like... and ran out the door because she didn't mean to say it at first. Well, I guess she meant to, but it just kind of slipped out. She wasn't prepared for it.
That's so sweet. Oh, you know what? Fuck it. I'll say it first. I don't give a fuck.
There's nothing wrong with it. Is there a significant other now, or are you single as a Pringle?
No, I'm single as a Pringle. I don't have the dating apps.
I've never, to be honest, I've been in a relationship so long with Shannon that I never used them. I've never, like, Tinder wasn't really a thing in my high school, Tinder wasn't a thing until like I was a senior in high school, but I thought that was so weird. I was like, we know everybody. Why would we get a dating app? And also too, like, we know everybody in the next county over too. So like that didn't make sense to me. And then I think I had it when I was a freshman in college. When I moved here, I think I used
I think I would go on dates a lot, but it was just because like I didn't know anybody and I was kind of like bored. But the dating apps like aren't my thing.
I understand. It's kind of a weird like social thing. Like I don't hate on it. You know, people have found love, and other people are looking up for like hookup culture. Which hey, no hate on my end. You know, it's just like I said, it just wasn't around for me like back then, kind of thing.
And I have faith that I'll like meet my person.
Yeah,
like I believe that. Like let me meet you out and about. Now I don't go out and about like all the time, but also too, I'm in just such a beautiful phase of my life that like I'm about to turn 27. I just figured out like who I am and what I want and where I'm going. And I just feel so passionate about that. I feel passionate about myself and my journey and like what I'm doing for my, which is what I want to do. And I don't want to like focus on anybody else. And if it happens to come along, that's great. But my main focus is just building the life that I want for myself right now.
What do you feel like helped you find like who you are as a person and be more comfortable with that, or at least experience that?
Probably when I cut all of my hair off.
Oh, okay. So did you have like long locks, or how was all that?
So I had long hair, and it was like dirty blonde. And then when I was a freshman in college, I shaved the side of my head. But when my hair was down, you couldn't tell. And then when I put my hair up, it was like,
I got you. You had to put like a ponytail. You'd have the side shave and everything. Gotcha.
I felt like I was badass, and it had like an effect on the room. It was a cool party trick. I'd do this, and they'd be like, oh. And then I was like, you know, I did it when I was 18, and I think I was like 20, and I was like, all right, you know, I think I'm over it. I had my own clippers, so I would trim it. And I was like, I'm just going to cut all my hair off, and I'll let all my hair grow out. You know, we'll just do as that. It's time for me to grow it all out anyways. I'm past this phase. And one of my sisters was like, please don't cut all your hair off. You have a really odd shaped head. It's not going to look good. And I'm like, first of all,
that's such a sister thing to say.
Well, and I'm like, well, it says the sister that had like brain surgery when she was 18. You have screws in your head.
Yeah, I would say that would definitely have an odd shape to your head. I can understand that part.
And so it was like me. And then they cut all my hair off. And I remember looking in the mirror and I was like, oh my God, I'm so beautiful. I was like, I just, you know, I grew up in a small town where you had to have long blonde hair or long pretty hair, long healthy hair, you know, and I had that, but I didn't feel like myself. And then just like looking in the mirror, I was like, oh, it was just like finding like a piece of you. It was like, you know, I feel like you have to find this puzzle in your heart as you grow. And that was the first time I got a puzzle piece.
Gotcha. Well, you like changed from conforming to like the norm, and you decided to go like your own route, which, hey, I appreciate that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And I bleached it. And I got it done at a salon. And then before COVID, I went to the salon. I went to her every 2 weeks. Every 4 to 6 weeks, I was, you know, doing my roots. And I did every color. I did every fade, every style, any design you could do on the side. I did it all.
That's cool.
And then when COVID happened, I was like, shit, that's when I had to learn how to like bleach and do my own hair. And of course, I do that now because it's like saves me money.
Of course, yeah. I've heard some of the bills y'all have to pay at these hair salons and nail techs and all that shit. Fuck that. Like it's $100 to $300 for like hair, and then like your nails around what, $100 and some dollars, if that.
I would say my nails are about 60.
Okay, like I said, this is a guy saying this is a guy saying it. So obviously, like I only know so much from what Shannon says, but you usually get like acrylics and everything, right, Shannon? How much would you say it usually costs you?
Probably about 65, 70.
Okay. Yeah. So that was me being wrong. Okay, I understand.
Well, mine are natural, and like it's like, you know, and I've been with my nail tech for like 6 years, almost 7 years now. So we have like a good relationship. But yeah, so like, you know, even now, but yeah, when I got my hair cut and it was so short, that's when I found my confidence. And I also didn't have a particular, like when I got my hair cut off, I didn't have a particular style. I didn't even know what my style was. But when you're, you know, when you don't go to college and you move out on your own, it's not like going to class is your job. So you get to spend your money on other things. I had to spend my money on my bills. So I just kind of like wore what I kind of wanted to wear. And then, you know, with my hair being short, that's when I started to be like, what else can I try on?
Yeah.
What other things can I do that like could make me stand out in a little bit? And then I also discovered that like I have a masculine side and a feminine side. So I love how, like, even today I got my hair cut, which Angel's Barbershop, Kirsten, she's my barber.
Shout out Kirsten.
I love having such a fresh fade and then a full face of glam of makeup.
Yeah.
That is like my favorite thing about myself, is like that balance of masculine and feminine.
There's nothing wrong with it, fam. Like that's what, like me and Shannon have both been like we're all about people, expressing themselves. Like, we don't care if you're black, white, gay, straight, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's just you as a person. Like, I'm lucky that I grew up with a family that was like that and didn't try to teach me anything different about hating on people.
Yeah.
And it's good that you found your way of doing things. You're comfortable with it. And at the end of the day, you have to be comfortable with yourself before you really care about even me, I don't give a fuck what other people think.
Yeah.
But just gotta be comfortable with yourself. And if you're comfortable in your own skin, good for you. There's a lot of people in this world that have to conform or feel like they have to conform to find the social norms and everything. And there's a lot of people who stand out and this is me. And that's it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And I will be honest, and I mean, I said it earlier, but I got a BBL after I turned 25. So I've had plastic surgery.
Can I ask about this whole...
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I know some people are about that and everything.
all about it.
And is it common in the fashion industry for people to get plastic surgery and everything? Is it looked down upon in any way, shape, or form?
I would say everybody has their own take, because some people are like, oh, you don't need to do it. You're beautiful the way you are. I did it because I wanted to.
Okay.
I loved my body before, and I love my body now. I had a natural hourglass figure, but I had what they called a muffin top.
Okay.
Which...
I know what a muffin top is.
Yeah, so in my early 20s, I did weightlifting, I did running, I did everything that you can think of, and it never went away. And so when I went in for my consultation, he told me, he was like, this is brown fat. No matter what you eat, no matter what you do diet,
it's just there.
It's going to be there. And so, I had been called pretty because I had that hourglass figure, but you couldn't tell. So for me, I was like, okay, well, let's get that removed. And I loved the shape of my bottom. It was wide, but it just wasn't round enough. And so, they took a percentage of fat from my stomach and back, but only a small part of that actually went back into my butt.
So they did full on liposuction and everything.
Yeah, from sternum down to my pelvic bone. From the bottom of my back to the top of my shoulders.
And I'm not saying anything wrong with the procedure. I'm just saying that sounds painful. That's with me making that noise. That just sounds painful as fuck.
So it's so funny because after surgery, I was in pain for about 6 hours.
Oh.
The pain meds that they gave me were really strong narcotics or whatever. Didn't do a thing for me. I popped that 800 milligram ibuprofen. Within 45 minutes, I was sitting up watching TV with my mom.
Really?
And before that, I was crying.
Oh, I bet. That's crazy. Because I've seen videos. I don't know if it's still what the video I've seen. I've seen them basically stick. It looks like a pole about this long, and they're just vacuuming your ass, and it's just because you got to think our natural body, just the way it's sitting here. I have fat across my belly and stuff like that. I just can't imagine someone going under my skin and basically vacuuming my body. It's just...
I love it, and I want to do it again.
Really?
I don't want to get another BBL. I just want another round of liposuction, on my stomach. But I think plastic surgery is relevant in the industry, but I think some people coming into the industry, I don't want them to think that that's
what you need.
Yeah, because it's so diverse now. It's
Which I like.
So diverse.
Yeah.
Just be yourself. But I'm one of those people that I know that I want to be in this industry for a long time. I know this is my career and my life. And these are my personal decisions that I had before even becoming a part of this industry.
It's your body.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong.
When I was 18, I told my mom when I turned 25, I'm going to start doing work because I want to live to 102. And I want to age well. And I want to do that. I've had lip filler 2 or 3 times. I'm super extensive with my skincare morning and night. I'm very aware of what goes into my body. I do all the things that I feel you're supposed to do. So, I have that aspect of peace in my mind. Okay, I am working out or I'm being active as much as I can. And then eating as healthy as I can. But I love plastic surgery, and I will continue to do that.
Hey, it's nice. It's good that you're upfront about it, because there's some people that you can, not hating, you can look at and be like, and they're like, no, I've never had anything done. I'm like,
yeah.
So not to hate on the Kardashians.
Yeah.
But Kylie Jenner,
She definitely had a BBL.
Well, her face is different.
Yeah.
From when she was a kid, you know what I mean? And like I said, not hating in any way, shape, or form, but the whole thing where she says she hadn't had plastic surgery on her face, I'm like, your jaw is different. I'm like,
you can tell, because I love getting lip filler because I had small lips. After watching and I've watched the Kardashians since I was literally their age on the show. I'd watch them. But they get filler in their cheeks and their chin, and that absolutely not. I can't. I will not. I will never do anything other than my lips.
I've always been scared because I've heard, obviously there's horror stories, but like, Botox at your face, I know it basically paralyzes that part, so like no wrinkles in your forehead and everything. Yeah. I don't know. It's always been a freaky thing, but obviously a lot of people get it done, and obviously they have to be safe about it, or they just be ensued every 5 seconds. But to talk about your BBL and everything, what was your recovery like? Were you able to, like, obviously you said you sat up after like 6 hours and everything, but like sitting, getting in the car, moving in general, how'd that whole thing go?
I had surgery on Monday and I drove to the barber Wednesday.
Oh, really?
Because I was like, I'm not missing my haircut.
Yeah.
I'm so serious about my hair. I'm so serious about going to Kirsten every 2 weeks. So I had surgery. My mom drove up and she had to stay with me the first 24 hours. So she ultimately, I think she had to leave like Tuesday night or whatever. So she was with me. It was only the first 6 hours after surgery that was pretty bad. Taking my first shower was kind of hard.
I bet, because you don't have it's not just your butt that's in pain. Obviously you were talking about the liposuction and everything else. I feel like there's just multiple parts of your body that are just in pain.
I was like leaking from the so when they did the lipo here on my pelvic, actually I have a wave tattoo that you can see the scar on. I leaked from that.
Oh, okay, so you opened up a little bit?
Yeah, so
really?
I leaked from it, and I had a roommate at the time, and I was on the couch, and the couch was like a cream color, and I accidentally got blood on it.
Oh,
and
no.
So I was coming down on like my pain meds or whatever. And I was like, I got blood on the couch. I'm so sorry. And my mom was like, it's fine. I've already cleaned it up. I don't know why she's being like this.
It just is what. Did you have any of I forgot what they're called, drains? Like any
Nope.
The balloons or anything like that on the outside? Okay.
No, my surgeon was amazing. He's a plastic surgeon, Jax, I think on Instagram. I highly recommend him. My barber, she went and got her BBL from him.
Really? Okay.
A year after I got mine.
You guys need to get punch cards.
I
like referrals or something like that.
I need to get a referral code for him, honestly. But no, I didn't have any drains or anything.
Okay.
My butt was rock hard.
I bet, yeah.
And it was so hard to just sit, like, to go to the bathroom. So I had like the shapewear that had the hole, and I would have to straddle the toilet.
Hey fam, I can understand. Like, I can't even imagine. Like, imagine having like a real hard like day of legs or working out and everything. That's like times 20 right there.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine.
And I practiced sleeping on my stomach for about 2 months prior to my surgery
So
because I'm a side sleeper.
Same.
So yeah, I did have to practice sleeping on my chest. That sucked because I got breakouts on my chin. I was mad about that. But the recovery was fine. Like, I was sore. I went back to work the next week. I just couldn't do like any heavy lifting. But yeah, and I had a special thing that I sat on. I couldn't sit on my butt for long periods of time, so I'd have to stand up. But yeah, I mean, I drove myself to the barber. I sat on my little thing, got out, put my little thing on the barber chair, sat up there, and she cut my hair. And
you're just tough, is what it sounds like. I was like, you're a tough little lady.
Dead ass, I am. I have a high pay tolerance after that. And then so I got surgery October 27th, and then I went to a Halloween party on the 31st. I had my shapewear on, and it came down to my knee, and I had like a long black dress on. But I was like, I'm still going.
I ain't missing
out. I couldn't twerk like I wanted to. I was like, but just you wait, guys.
Just wait till the next one.
Just wait till I'm healed up.
No, that's awesome though. So to get into obviously your fashion and everything, tell me about it, how you got involved, what shows you've been involved with, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so it's so funny. My whole childhood prepared me for what I'm doing right now. I spent every waking moment. I spent all of my summers watching Project Runway, America's Next Top Model, anything. I would make my own designs. I would cut things and be like, I want this to look like this on the sleeve. Like, I was so enamored with it as a child. And then when I grew up, it was like this dream that went away. And I didn't really realize the dream went away because I was an adult and I just became focused on other things. And so I did home health care from 15. Yeah, when I was 15 is when I started doing home health care. And then,
oh, wow, you were young doing that.
Yeah, because so I started working in the kitchen at that facility, and then I moved out I hated working in the kitchen, and I loved those old people. Oh, I loved them. They're so sweet. So I wanted to work on the floor, and then I got experience, and then, agencies and this and that. And so when the pandemic happened, I lost that job, and then I worked at a women's center for a long time, and then there was a local boutique. And, they were hiring, and I was like, it's not me. It's not my aesthetic. You know, it's a little bit girlier than I am. I don't know if I should do this. And then the social media manager at the time was actually my neighbor. And she said, hey, I need a short-haired model. Would you be interested? I said, yeah, I'd love to model. This is, you know, I'd never been asked before.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me do this. This is pretty exciting. And then when I modeled, I was like, oh, this is fun. It kind of like, it like jiggled something in my brain, but I couldn't figure out what it was.
Relit that fire almost, yeah.
And then she said, hey, they're hiring. And I was, you know, I don't know if I should do it. And then I started working on the sales floor. And I can sell anybody anything. Dead ass.
Same.
I'd sell you anything. And so I loved working on the sales floor, and I did really well, you know, did well with like responsibility and things, asked if I could like move to the back and work on like merchandising and things like that. And then before, I would either come into work early or I would stay at work late, and I would make my own content of what I thought was cute, what I thought they should put on their Instagram, you know, ideas. And I didn't really know why I was doing that. I just knew that I just thought it was cool. I was like, let me make my own videos. And they had an internship program, but it was only open to people who were actually in school.
Gotcha.
Who needed the credit. So I basically took all this content that I had made and I went to the CEO and I was like, I know you only allow college students, but I was like, I've been doing this before and after work. Like, I think you should take a chance on me because I think I have something. Mm-hmm. And that was the first time that I was like, I can do this. Do you think I can do this?
Yeah, right.
And so she's like, yeah, cool, let's do it. And then like, some things I had to learn, like skills, like, you know, like technical skills, like editing and things like that, you know, Canva and all those.
The bane of my existence, yes.
Right. So I learned all those skills and I did really well. And every time I did a project, she was happy, you know, with how it was turning out, always complimented me. And then like a month and a half, she was like, I think we're just going to close the program and hire you.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I think I'm onto something. I think this is onto something. And then I worked under the social media manager, and then like her contract was up and she moved over to like an in-house agency that like she knew the owner and was, you know, it just switched up for her.
Yeah, of course.
And so then I became the social media manager and I liked it. And then I was like, I can do more. Mm-hmm. There's more that I can do. And so I told her, I was like, I understand being a social media manager. I said, I want to be a creative director. I was like, I want to call the creative shots. I know you call the creative shots and like all these other things, but I was like, I think I've got something, and I think it's worth, you know,
pursuing.
Yeah. Like, let me do these things. So she would let me do little things, and you know, eventually it got to a way that, you know, I'd gotten all out of it that I could, you know, and because you do work for a certain business and with a certain aesthetic, I could only use the same color so many times, the same outlines, the same things, and so, you know, we parted ways, and I decided I was going to go to freelance. And then I was a brand manager. I got to work alongside Jennifer and do a lot of things.
Jennifer Janea?
Yeah. So I was her brand manager last summer with her podcast and her modeling. And then I was a social media manager for a supplement company.
What was her podcast name? Generally Speaking. I was trying to think of it, yeah. No, that's awesome. It's obviously, it sounds like you just kind of went from one spot and kept on growing your thing.
Yeah.
And obviously, like you're saying, like with a company doing the same thing over and over again, I feel like you're just not being able to be as creative as you want to be.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. And that's the nice thing about, you know, starting your own thing, doing what you want to do, because you can post whatever you want online, post it up. It can be your colorway or it can be a different colorway. You know, it doesn't matter. No one's on your back about like, this has to be this has to be that kind of thing.
Yeah. And like, that's the freedom that I'm finding in doing my own business. And I was telling Jim today, I was like, it's so weird because when you do content for other businesses or other people, like, again, like what you just said, it's the same color and blah, blah, blah. And like for myself, I'm like, oh, I like that. Mm-hmm. That's going to stay. You know, it's so nice to like call the creative shots with myself.
Oh, well, that's how it is with me. Like, you know, all the videos that I post up, I don't get like, you know, I don't have the people I talk to say, oh, this is okay. I'm like, I'm putting this out whether you kind of like it or not. And this is just from the conversation.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, and then there's some people who don't want to collaborate with the post and all that stuff. I'm like, why'd we do this? And like, I was like, what was the point of this?
Yeah.
Right?
And that was when I'm part of a group called the Feminine Project. When we had our first event, that was the first time I did a pose class. And a pose class, like okay. So while I was a social media manager and a creative director, so I would organize the shoots and the styling, the models and everything, and I was helping them pose. I was teaching them how to pose. So like that job gave me so much of what I have right now. Now, I don't want to say like I owe everything to one certain person, because it was a lot of me and like my own ideas and my own work.
Of course.
But a lot of what I learned came from that job. And being a pose coach was something that I just did naturally. And then I was really fortunate to work with a great group of models while I was working at that boutique. And they would compliment me. They're like, "You're really good at this. Like,
nice.
You gave good ideas." And then I was like, could I pursue this? Could I pursue something else?
Yeah.
Like alongside all the creative things. Like I think as a creative, there's nothing you can't do.
It's really just whatever you put your mind to.
It's whatever hat you want to put on that day.
No, I feel you. Like I said, with this stuff, Shannon helps out behind the scenes with like the video side of things and taking pictures and everything. And then I'm a lot more of the editing. Yeah. Like the videos and all that stuff. But she's going to be starting working on this soon with me. I need some help. We've been so freaking busy with the amount of interviews. But that's amazing that you're willing to bounce around, go try different things, and see. You never know what could relight that fire. Yeah. One thing I wanted to ask you was, how was your experience with the collab? And shout out to the collab. I've been trying to get with you boys for a minute now. Anyways, so how was that whole event? There was obviously a big show not too long, or a couple shows probably by now, right? I saw one with Stay Young Clothing. I had him on here recently. Yeah. Shout out to Tyshawn. I also saw Time and Place was there. Who else was there? Was it Savage at Peace?
And Disco Dolly and Keeks Vintage.
Yeah, I was like, there was a bunch of people there, and I saw like you were involved in that, and you've been involved in a bunch of other things. Tell me about your experience with working with the collab.
I love collab because I was at my other job when I noticed that they were opening up. And then when they had their first networking event, it was kind of like one of the very first that I'd seen in Jacksonville. I had gone to a previous network night at the Lobby Jacks, and I love the Lobby Jacks too. And so I went to one, and it was so fun. And then I just kept going back because to me it was like it was the perfect setup. You have the infinity wall. You've got the bar. You've got all of like the lights and everything that you need.
It looks super cool. I haven't had a chance to go yet. I really want to go, but it looks beautiful in there.
You absolutely have to go and see it. And then it was, I went to like 5 or 6 networking nights in a row. I got to celebrate my 26th birthday there last year during like during the Barbie themed networking
night.
That's badass. I got to celebrate my birthday.
Yeah.
And it's just been really nice to work with them. And then, so the group, The Feminine Project, we actually had our first event there. Nice. Super successful event. And then...
If you don't mind me asking, what is The Feminine Project? I want to make sure you can give the... Yes. You brought it up. I want to know about them.
I am a part of this. It was started by Maziel and Sasha. Mm-hmm. Just this idea that there can be a space for women to be women.
Okay.
We're all entrepreneurs. I think the slogan's empower, thrive, and something else. I'm blanking right now. I'll have to look it up on my phone.
You're good.
But we had our first event that was super successful, and we all are just like these different puzzle pieces. Okay. So like I got to do a pose class, and I talked about that, and like working in front of the camera, and one of my biggest things that I taught in that class is you need to post what you want to post. That you see. Don't post what other people want to see because you're going to be in that constant cycle of depression. Like, oh, nobody likes it. Nobody likes me.
They're just fake numbers. That's also how you'll have to look at it.
And then Maziel and Sasha had different things that they talked about, like with media and with marketing and mindfulness, and even as women entrepreneurs. And Marianella, and she had a little class that she taught as well. So it was super successful, and it was just such a great environment that we provided. And then we had our second event at Vive Yoga Studio, and we did vision boards.
Okay, gotcha.
This year, and we also ended up doing a meditation practice. Everyone was crying. I mean, I was literally bawling, and it was such a beautiful moment of just interacting with all of the different women. And then we had our third event, which was we had a picnic in Riverside Park, and we were really grateful to have such a beautiful turnout. So we just create and foster environments just for women to feel...
That's beautiful.
Just for women to feel like women, and just to feel safe, and just to feel like empowered and like supported. We really, Maziel really wanted to feel like there was like genuine support and genuine like love and things like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like growing up in high school, girls were ruthless. Listen,
they were ruthless 4 years ago when I worked at the boutique. So.
Yeah, I've growing up and everything. I've always said this on the podcast. Like, this is a generalization, obviously, but women are a lot more it's like a mental game.
Yeah.
With guys, we'll get into a fist fight and we'll be fine later. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that
God,
quick.
I wish it was that easy.
But y'all would like tear each other in guys as well, like apart, just like the smallest thing. And it's good that you guys are supporting each other. It's how it should be. At the end of the day, all the stuff where you just see negativity and all this other bullshit, it's just like get out of your head about it.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like you do a lot better with collaboration rather than trying to do it on your own, because at the end of the day, you know, collaborating, you can find people that can help you in a spot. Or like, say if you're, like we were talking about editing and everything, if you're not too proficient at editing, I'm sure there's someone in that group that can help you out in that.
Yeah.
Or the business sense of things. You know, if you're trying to get your business off the ground, you can talk to another woman who has a business that is, you know, making it successful and everything. And that's how it should be. So you said you brought that over to the collab as well, or to the collab cafe as well?
Yeah, so we had our first event there.
That was the first event. Okay, I got you. But no, that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you plan on doing more events over there, or how's that all going to go?
Right now, we just had our meeting on Monday. We're going to start doing webinar series.
Oh, okay.
So
that's a perfect place to do it, too.
Yeah, and we've just had such a great turnout, like with in-person events. We're like, what if we tried doing webinar? And we've been fortunate. Wish I could remember that. We've been fortunate to work with companies that send us items that I think we're going to do a giveaway soon. I'm allowed to say that, but I'll let you say it.
I like it.
A possible giveaway soon.
Let me know. I'll put it on the Instagram post and everything. Let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be so great. So yeah, we're going to just kind of work on that, expanding the brand a little bit and just seeing how much further of a reach we can create the community.
That's awesome. So I have two final questions for you, and everything has been amazing. Like I said, thank you so much for your time. So one of my last questions is, what is your most proud moment when it comes to working in the fashion industry?
It was 2 summers ago, and it's gonna happen. It will happen. I'll make it happen. So 2 years ago, I had just left New York, had the music festival.
Ooh.
I just had such a beautiful time, and I was modeling, trying to figure out if I should pursue it a little bit more. I still had my other job, so I was still being creatively fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a very prestigious model called Coco Rocha.
Okay.
And she has a model camp in New York. And I followed her for years. Again, as a child, I followed her for years, her way of modeling and method and everything. And I left New York, and I was like, fuck it. I'm going to apply. Probably not going to get accepted, but like, you know.
At least try.
Let me try.
Yeah.
I applied in the morning, and they emailed me last night. They emailed me that night.
What? That's
to say
badass.
that I had been accepted. And the thing about this camp is, like, when you apply, Coco herself reviews your application. She reviews your social media, and she makes the decision if you're going to come into her camp.
Ooh.
So for me, that was just like...
You were handpicked, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By someone I consider like my icon, my mentor, everything, you know, that I know about posing and modeling is from watching her meticulously. And so at the time they were like, yes, you've been accepted if you want to do the class. And I was at the time, that's when they sold my apartment building. So I was like, this is the worst time for me to spend this much money, but it's a 3-day thing. You know, you fly up there, they pay for your food, and drinks. They pay for your board. You get insane classes. You get insane one-on-one time with one of like the best models in the industry.
That's awesome.
And then you do this massive glam photo shoot at the end, and you get like these digital photos that you can add to your portfolio. Mm-hmm. And basically the models that come out of this camp have a door opened for them that they otherwise never would have had. And the cool thing about getting invited to this camp or being accepted to this camp is that it's a lifetime ticket. So they told me, they're like, we understand that your situation right now, you know, you're not able to afford it. This is good for the rest of your life. So when you're ready to come, we'll be here for you.
That's awesome. That's a really cool feeling, I bet. Yeah. That's badass.
So this will be the 3rd summer. I keep trying to make it happen, but I swear to God, every time that I'm like, oh, I'm going to do something for myself, life's like, did you remember this happened?
Same.
By the way, you need an oil change and your tire's flat. Same,
fam. I totally understand you, but that's awesome. Congratulations on that. You should feel proud about that.
I feel amazing. I give it a couple years. I'm going to go to the camp this year. I'm going to manifest it. I'm going to put it out right now.
Get it. And the one thing I always say as well is, like you were saying, that's always a ticket. Anytime I have someone who's on the podcast, that is automatically, you guys always have an open door for us as well. So anytime you have something going on, you just want to either come in here and talk about it, promote anything, or you just want to come in here and shoot the shit, hit me up. Or I say, we're always down.
I want to have a separate conversation about animals, to be honest. I feel like we have a lot of fun animals I would love.
Well, that's the thing is, like, we always start, like, the first interview is getting to know the person and everything, and then after that, we can go anywhere with it. So that's kind of how I look at it. Just want to make sure people get to know you, get to know what you're about, and be able to find you and everything.
Yeah.
But my final question for you, and I ask this to everybody who's for their first time on the podcast, it is, do you feel successful? And if you do or you do not, in what ways?
That's damn. Oh,
I like when I always love that question because it gets people.
No, because that's such a great question, because that question's honestly been on my mind the last couple of weeks, because like the model camp was so successful. I've launched my own business, which is starting to be successful, and I am overall happy. And like I said, I know who I am. I know what I want, and I know where I'm going, and it will happen. So right now, I feel very successful because I am building the foundation for something that's going to be so goddamn beautiful.
Hell yeah.
Even though I don't have a job and I live with my parents and I'm on unemployment and I feel like it's a struggle just to buy food and get gas, I am so fucking successful right now, and I'm only going to get more successful.
That's a beautiful way to say it. And before I let you go, obviously, we're going to get your social medias here in a second. Please give a description of your business and everything. I want to make sure people can know about it, find it. I don't want you to feel like this was all just the talk and not get your business out there. So feel free to let everybody know about your business, what you do, all that stuff.
Yes. So I've just launched my business. It's Josie Valentine, creative director. Basically, I'm going to have a 6-part thing to my job, or to what I want. So right now, as a model, if you have like any type of idea, or you're creative and you want to I want that to happen, I make that happen. I work with a fabulous photographer called Barry that I worked with my last photo shoot. And I have 3 tiers that you can choose from. I mean, it's pretty cool all that I'm offering and all that you're going to get out of it. And it's basically just for like really serious models, people who really want to pursue it, creatives that want to have like their ideas come to life. Eventually, I would like to work with businesses for media and marketing. Eventually, I'm going to launch a pose series. I'm going to have my own pose class that I've already designed. And I'll start that as like a side project. So like if, say you're a model and you already have your photographer and your idea, but you need me to come coach you on set, boom, I got you. I'm right there for you.
Hey.
And then probably about a year from now, my plan and my goal for my business is to have the little black book of the best creatives in Jacksonville. So like the best models, the best vendors, the best photographers, the best videographers. And I want those people to be paid for their craft and creative, and I want them to be in my little black book exclusively.
Hell yeah. Well, we got a little black book here. That's all our episodes is the little black book of all the local creatives here in Jacksonville. So that's awesome that you're doing that. And is there a website, or what is the best way for them to reach out if they want to get involved with you and your business?
Yeah, so my personal Instagram is Joe Valentino 3.0, but at Creative Director JO is my business I just launched. I think my email too is in my bio if people want to reach out to me, but you can also come ask me questions in the DMs. I can say, because I filmed the promo video today, but I'm going to be doing a really cool exclusive giveeway with Disco Dolly and Barry.
Hey, shout out. And the videographer was Jim, correct?
Yes, Jim from Graybeard Podcast Photo Company. He did my promo video today. So I'm super excited for all those little details to come together. I'm excited to see it. Anytime, like I said, anytime you have something going on, you're doing a giveaway or you're putting any flyers up, send them to us. We're more than happy to post it on our stories, support and all that good stuff. So just definitely let us know. And also everything that you just put in there will also be in the description so people can go straight to you. I want to make sure everybody can find you, get involved with you and everything. And if you guys do go give her a follow, or you guys are getting involved in her business, let her know who are you sent you. It makes me feel good when I know like people who are listening to the podcast, collaborate with people that we have on here. 10% off.
Oh,
10% off.
Now you heard that here, folks. 10% off. So make sure you guys go check her out. Like I said, everything will be in the description. And like I said, thank you so much for your time today. It's been awesome awesome to get to know you, and I hope this isn't the last time. Let me know if you got anything going on. You're always more than welcome to come on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so great talking to you.
Yeah.
Definitely it was, getting out of my comfort zone of being on Jim's podcast.
I understand. I love Jim. Jim always says, like, I get deep and dark on people sometimes. I'm like, it's not always the deepest part. I just like to get to know the people.
You ask really, like mind-stimulating questions.
Thank you. I work hard. That's why I don't send a questions list to people. I want to make sure, it's a genuine conversation. I don't want you coming in here all polished and everything, because it's not the same kind of conversation.
No, it's not as fun.
Yeah. So make sure you guys go give her a follow on everything. Everything will be in the description, as I've said in the past. If you guys want to give us a follow on the social media, it's going to be Who Are You Pod for everything from Instagram, TikTok, X, Twitter, or I guess it's the same thing really, Facebook, and on YouTube. Please give us a subscribe on YouTube. We always love when we get to have new people in our community. We're putting out a new episode every single Monday. We've only missed one episode out of 114 episodes, Shannon. And that was just because we got married. We got to skip 1 week, unfortunately.
You only skipped one because you guys got married.
Every single Monday for 2-3 years now. So like every single Monday, we're big on that. So guys, come give us a follow. And if you guys know someone who would be perfect for this show, feel free to shoot me an email. It's going to be whoareyoupod@yahoo.com, or hit me up on social media. We talk to entrepreneurs, athletes, models, restaurateurs, really a mix of everybody. So if you guys feel like you'd be a good fit, or you know someone who'd be a good fit, feel free to hit me up on all of those. And as I say every single week, y'all, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.